guys, this is Cassandra Zhao, and today I'm going to be moving on from Procreate. Well, we're still going to do some Procreate later in the future, but right now I'm going to move on to Canvas. And so today what going to be doing is that I'm going to be busting the myth that kawaii and painting often can't be mixed together. Today I am going to show myself painting a kawaii painting on canvas using acrylic paint. So let's get started. So right now I am going to start sketching the planets of this, like in this little perspective idea. So I am going to start sketching. And by the way, in case you notice these little bumps over here, and these little blue patches. So I originally, this was originally a painting that I didn't like. So what I discovered is that if you cover something, if you like sketch or draw something that you don't like, and especially with acrylic paint, then what you could do is that you could use apple barrel white paint that you could find at like Walmart for like $3 a can to cover up this canvas. Cover up canvases and it'll look as though if you color it carefully and with several layers. I only did one layer on this. And if you cover it with multiple layers, you'll see that you have a blank new white canvas that you can work with. I've been using that hack for a long time and I really like it. I think it's really useful. So if you guys have some old paintings when you painted when you were like 8 years old, you could just revise it using apple barrel paint and repaint it. Now I am finished with the planets and I'm going to start adding a little bit of texture to the planets as well as the kawaii characters that will be on it. Now as you can see, I have finished adding the texture on the planets and I will start to make the kawaii characters. First, I'm making all new made up characters. And so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to first make a cat and I'm going to have it partly covering the planet beside it. And I'm going to have the cat in a sort of like a astronaut's sort of costume thing. And I don't exactly know how to make one of those, but maybe a spacesuit, we'll see. And as you can see, I have sketched out the basic sort of structure. And I'm going to add an astronaut's helmet. I have debated about whether to create the inner ears of the cat because the cat is in an astronaut's helmet and in reality that wouldn't really show. But I think that I'm just going to add some little kawaii vibe. And I am not going to follow the traditional astronaut suit. So I am going to just give it an astronaut's helmet and just normal clothing wear. And I have decided to make a little short t-shirt with a little dress. No, a little skirt, as you'll see later in the video. And here I am just erasing some of the details that are in the picture. And I'm going to give it sort of like little boots, sort of like astronaut boots, because I think it will look cute. Even though the boots will just sort of be like normal shoes with sort of different textures and different thicknesses. There, I am done with the clothing. Now I am going to move on to the cat's face. I'm going to add some blush, and there. I have a lovely cat, and I am going to name this cat Francis. And now I'm going to move on to the other kawaii characters on this painting. And I have decided to make a little rabbit. On the contrary to Francis, this little rabbit is going to wear an astronaut suit, even though I'm not really sure how to draw one, but not an astronaut's helmet. And I have accidentally drawn the rabbit a little bit too big, because in perspective, the cat would be Francis would be the biggest, and the rabbit would be smaller, and so it goes because of the perspective of the painting. So I'm just going to sort of redo it lightly and continue. And yes, this rabbit would be a boy, and his name would be Frederick. Now Frederick is just sort of dancing in and dancing out, not really doing anything useful. And I'm just going to measure it, and I think that it's still a little bit too big. Like, it's the same side of Francis, and I am just going to make the body a little bit smaller. And I'm just sort of measuring it again. And I think it looks slightly smaller, so I'm just going to stick with it. Now for the astronaut suit. I'm going to make the segment for the boots. And I'm going to make zippers on the boots, even though I'm pretty sure the real boots doesn't have any slippers. And I'm going to make gloves just to make it, I think they have gloves. But I'm also making it so that it looks a little bit cuter and a little bit more jazzed up. And I think his suit is finished, even though it doesn't really look like a real astronaut suit. Oh, and I forgot, I must also add the tail of Francis. And the little tail for Frederick. Now I am going to start drawing the face of Frederick. And I'm going to draw every kawaii character in this page the same style of eyes as these guys have, and also the same style of mouth, while slightly varying on sizes and shapes. And I'm going to give it a tiny bit of blush, which I will mark in a painting later. And now, as you can see, I feel like the canvas is slightly too small, like the planets are slightly too small to add like like kawaii creatures on them. So what I'm going to do is that I am going to create a creature flying in midair. And to do that, first before I do that, I am going to add some little more detail to Ferdinand soup. And now I have to decide what kind of animal I want. I don't want it to be a cat or a rabbit, and I want it to be a female. So I'm going to put a little deer, sort of like a deer unicorn, sort of. So what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to draw a tiny snout. Now I'm going to scrap the plan for the little deer because I think that looks a bit too realistic and not very kawaii-ish. And instead I'm going to draw a little bear flying in midair. So perspectively that should be bigger than Ferdinand, but still a little bit smaller than Francis. And I'm just going to take measurements of this. And I'm going to say it's about this tall. Maybe the bear should be a little bit smaller. So I'm just going to say from here to there. Perfect. And on contrary to Ferdinand or Francis, this bear is belong to the space. So the bear is not wearing a spacesuit or a space helmet. It has natural protection against space forces and whatever space has to offer. So I'm just going to sketch. And yes, the bear is going to be slightly rounded. And I decided to have the bear sort of being carried on a sort of moon-like shape. So yeah, I did that because I think it'll look cute. And also, I am still going to draw this little bear wings, even though he technically doesn't need wings since he's floating on a moon-like shape. And I'm going to make them butterfly wings, not standard wings. And so I'm going to make it sort of a little bit like fairy wings. You know those fairy wings that have like these little sort of branches, sort of like gossamer wings? That's what I'm going to do. And I think that the bear is looking a little bit bland. So I'm going to give it some little paws. And I'm going to add some spots on the bear to make it interesting. As I said, I want to make this bear a little girl, so I'm going to give it eyelashes and a little bit blush. And there. I am going to name that bear Felatricia. So, also I am going to add their names to the to like this sort of space. And I'm going to go ahead and do that. So there, I have completed the sketching process of these little kawaii characters. And for the next step, I would be covering everything in paint. Hi, as you can see, I have completed the painting. Well, not completed the painting. I've completed the characters on the painting. And now, so I'm just going to sort of explain it a little bit before I move on to painting these sort of like little planets. And so for Francis, I decided to make the helmet a silvery color, and I decided to make the fur color a brown. And I have decided to paint the dress emerald and sort of like mint green, sort of bright neon blue, neon green. Okay. And I decided to make the astronaut boots a silver color as well. And so that is basically it for Francis. And for Ferdinand, I have decided to make his fur color a orange. And as you can see, I have made the astronaut suit with bronze zippers and a silver little suit and gloves with shoes. And for fellow Trisha, I decided to make the wings the same color as Francis's skirt a little bit. And for fellow Trisha, I used sort of light sky blue for the little cow-like dots, and lilac, sort of more dark of lilac purple for the main body. And so I'm going to continue painting, and I'm going to finish these planets. And so yeah. Hello, and as you can see, I have finished painting the planets and the moon that is sort of slept on by Trisha. And for Francis's planet, I just painted it a gold, and I scrapped the plans for the polka dots / spots because I thought those would look a little bit bland. And also, it was this paint, it's like super duper see-through, and when I put any paint on it, it just sort of shines through it. So all I did was that I did 2 coats for the thin metallic paint, and I used a white paint pen for the highlight. Oh, and by the way, all of these characters were all made by using paint pens, and the planet's sort of base color is used by like pure acrylic paint in cans, and the details on them, such as the highlights, are also made by using gel pens or white paint pens. So for Frederick's planet, I did sort of a rocky texture with the white paint pen. And for this planet, I just did sort of a blue background with orange polka dots. Because of that, I thought that would look really abstract. And for this rocky planet, I made the base color pink, and I made it to look spiky by using white paint pens again. And so now I'm down to like the final steps, and then my next step is to cover this white space with the background color, and also write these little sort of creatures' name on it using paint pens. So I am going to finish it. Hello, and as you can see, I have painted this painting a sort of dark, sort of periwinkle blue, and I decided to add some gold and tan dots by tapping 2 toothbrushes together to create this star effect. And now here is a close-up picture / video of this finished painting. Okay, so that is it for this video. I shown you how, what I did when I combined kawaii and painting techniques together. And there you go, the kawaii painting. And please subscribe and hit the like button. Please subscribe to watch more craft, sketching, drawing videos. And I'll see you next time.